Well, hello everyone. It's great to be back and give my persuasive speech on why lower taxes work and are key to a good economy and also increase tax revenues for the federal government. Before I begin my speech, I would like to thank some people who came in to listen. My audience, I'd like to thank Chris and his wife Jessie and their daughter, and I would also like to thank my cousin Reba for listening in as well. The debate over tax rates has become a key important factor in this upcoming 2016 presidential election. Many people on the Democratic side, including the two key candidates, Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton, have advocated drastic increases in tax rates because it will raise revenue in their minds, and it will so that they can pay for their services and programs that they are proposing, such as free college and free health care, etc. Well, I'm going to be saying that what Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton argue and propose is wrong. Not only is it wrong, but it will kill the economy and actually lower federal revenues if they raise taxes. Raising taxes only de-incentivizes people to work. In 1978, this was proven. Jude Wanniski, who was a writer for the Wall Street Journal, wrote an article called Taxes, Revenues, and the Laffer Curve. It can now be found in the website National Affairs, in which he was discussing how lower taxes are better for the government and for the economy. And basically, here's the curve and how it looks. It is a bell curve, and it has 2 points, a 0% tax rate and a 100% tax rate, and how they increase revenues. And here's how it goes. A 0% tax rate and a 100% tax rate will both yield zero revenues. In essence, I'm going to ask it like this. If you worked all day and instead of getting a paycheck, you got a bill and 100% of your income went to taxes, how much would you work? The answer is you wouldn't work at all. Because of that, production, output, and the desire for workers to earn more money would be in essence killed, because all of their money would go to the federal government. If the tax rate was 0%, everyone would work like mad because they could keep all of what they earned. However, since it is 0%, the government would still be collecting zero revenues. Thus, the curve represents the relationship between how tax rates can increase or shrink the size of revenues for the federal government. And at some point, as it goes out, it will meet at the hump point. This is where the tax rate will generate, a certain tax rate will generate the maximum amount of revenues. And if you go beyond that, you will enter the prohibited range, which means that you will harm the economy, and in effect, you will also harm government revenues. Now, if you lower the tax rate from 100%, you will see more money come in because people will be encouraged to work. And if you raise it from 0%, you'll only impede minimum economic growth, but you'll also raise revenues. And then you get to the hump point. Now, there is much debate over what this hump point is. Some have argued that it's a very high tax rate. Others have argued that it's a very low tax rate. So, in order to persuade you to come to my side on why lower taxes are better for the government and for the economy, I'm going to quote an article that can be found in Ricochet by an economist named Tim Groseclose, in which he quoted Christina Romer, who was a Democratic economist that was the chair of President Barack Obama's Council on Economic Advisors. In an article that she and her husband David Romer wrote, they said that the hump point in which a certain tax rate will yield the maximum amount of revenues is at 33%. Now, this is important because when you have a 33% tax rate, you will still incentivize people to get out and work and earn more money, and you'll also increase federal revenues. If you go over that point, people will not work, People will sit out and they won't take part in the American dream that we all want to partake in, and that is expand our wealth. So, while Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton are going around spreading their message on how we need to raise taxes to increase revenues, don't believe them. They're wrong. Actually, their own party, an economist in their own party says they're wrong. And in effect, lower taxes work. Lower taxes increase federal revenue because it increases and broadens the tax base and incentivizes people to earn more and work harder, and it increases output drastically. This is why we need lower taxes. This is why we need a tax policy that promotes economic growth and also looks into increasing federal revenues. If you want to have a good economy and you want to give the government a sizable revenues in order to shrink the deficit, the best way to go is through the Laffer curve and not have a tax rate that's over 33%. This is not ideological. This is completely economics, and everyone should get on board with this. Thank you very much. It was great to be back. Take care.